Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. Today I'm out on the Delta with my son Nate. We are fishing for largemouth bass, but we got to talking about striper fishing, and we got to talking about our favorite transitional baits. Baits that you would normally associate with fishing for largemouth bass that work very well for stripers. So today we're going to be doing a quick video, and we're going to go over 5 or 6 baits that we have, our favorite transitional baits. Transitioning from largemouth bass to stripers. What's the first one you want to talk about, Nate?
Well, it is a top water walk the dog bait. This is the Zara Spook. It is a classic. This catches fish year after year after year. They're fairly inexpensive. They retail for about $7 a piece, and they work really well. The other choice is one of my personal favorites, and this is the Evergreen shower blows. With the shower blows, you get a little bit farther casting distance, a little bit more durability. You can really put the brakes on big stripers with this, whereas with the Spook, you're going to want to fight them out a little bit because they're just not as tough. This has a lot of reinforcement in it. The shower blows is going to really excel when you have a little bit rougher water, when there's a little bit of wind. You can cast this farther, you can walk it through rougher water. These Spooks are hard to beat on a calm morning when the fish are chasing bait.
And with all of these, in our favorite color, we talked about this, people's favorite color out here is that bone. I guess
always seems to work.
If I had a second color, it would be chrome. But if you are transitioning from fishing for your bass and you really wanted to beef these up, I think you should probably be thinking about changing out the hooks on them also, right?
Yeah.
With that, I'll talk about one of my favorite baits, and it's also just an old standard. Everyone that's been around for a while has them. That's the old Bill Lewis Rattletrap, and it's been a standard for largemouth bass, but here on the Delta, especially in this chrome blue back, it is just a killer for stripers. I would definitely change out the hooks on this guy if you're fishing for striped bass. They're a little light for stripers, but this thing is just a killer, and you can really burn this back. And even with the shower blows and the top waters, you'll find that stripers are much more susceptible to a lot of disturbance and motion and action. They're a much more aggressive fish. So you can fish this one just like you would you'd be fishing for largemouth bass, yo-yoing it back to the boat, or you can just burn this in, stop it, burn it and stop it, and they'll come up and they will really slam this thing.
Especially when the water's dirty.
Yeah, change out the hooks on these things. And these have a bunch of rattles in them, so that's one of the reasons that these fish will hone in on it. They really shake and rattle. So
and it's a really versatile bait that you can use year round. Works good in cold water, warm water. They catch them. I
think they're still about $5 or $6, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not too expensive either.
All right, what do you got next?
The Fluke style bait. 2 of our favorites are this Yamamoto Fluke and the Sluggo. These are really versatile baits. You can rig them in a variety of ways. You can rig them on like EWG and do it weedless. We really like to nose hook them to get a whole lot of action out of them. If you're fishing for stripers and you need to get down a little bit deeper, you can put them on a jig head. These are definitely a staple on the Delta.
And one thing I'd like to add to that too, and we usually use white, but with these Sluggos, they're a little heavier. You can cast them better in the wind, and you can get these things. I think this is the 5-inch.
Yeah, they make them in a variety of sizes.
7 to 12 inches. Yeah.
One thing, this is a really good one to go if the fish are finicky. If you know there's fish in the area, you got to report that there's stripers, in the area, and you know they're there, and they're not eating a rattletrap, they're not eating a topwater, or you're getting rejections on a topwater. The Fluke. If they won't hit this, it's time to change areas.
And if I'm looking for a bigger fish, I'm going with the 7 or 9-inch Sluggo. So you've got another plastic bait that kind of works hand in hand with this.
This is the a Keitech or any other paddle tail, any kind of shad pattern. The brighter, the better for the stripers. In most instances, you can rig them on an exposed hook or a weedless, something with a weed guard like this, or you can rig them on a like a beast hook, like what I have here. You can add a little flash. You can do it either way, with the blade, without the blade, And for you kayak guys, if you don't have one of these tied on, you're really missing out. Whenever I go kayak fishing, I have one of these tied on. These are the 2 ways that I set them up. And when you launch your boat and you're heading out to your spot, it might be a mile, or if you're changing spots, you want to pull this thing out and troll it behind your boat, because you'll run into schools of stripers or sometimes even largemouth just trolling between locations. And if you're not doing that, you could be missing out on a lot of fish.
And don't forget a variety of sizes out here. Sometimes even the stripers will key in on maybe a 3.5. I think my standard is a 4.8 or 5.8, whatever they come in a little bigger, but sometimes they key in on the smaller bait fish. So with that, there's 2 more baits that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to kind of pair these up together because they both are fishing the same, I'll say the same water column. They both rely on a lot of flash and a lot of vibration. The first one is just a standard chatterbait, and this is the color that I really like for stripers. I've caught a ton of fish on here in the last couple of years with this firecracker color. This happens to be a Z-Man. Expensive one. You don't have to go with the most expensive baits. Make sure you've got a good hook on the bait. I really like the Bobby D's bait that they're selling at the Bass Hole out on Bethel Island. It's got a little bigger blade, pushes a lot of water, and it's got a substantial hook. But did you have something to say on that?
You hear a lot, you hear, this is a classic Delta bait, and you hear largemouth fishermen fishing these things all the time, but they do work really good for stripers. So if you haven't tried tossing these at stripers, I highly recommend it. And another thing, guys always associate bait fish with stripers. They eat a ton of crawdads. If you're fishing anywhere around pumps, around rice fields, and the pump is going out, this is a really, really hard bait to miss. And then if you're over on the Western Delta, it also represents like a shrimp. So just keep that in mind, and definitely give them a shot for stripers.
And my second color would be just a pure white. And when I'm fishing in the evening, I'll throw these in black and blue. Catch a lot of stripers on this. They've kind of bummed me out a few times. I've thought I've had a double-digit largemouth, and it turns out to be a striper. So that is the chatterbait. And last but not least, it would be a some form of an A-rig. This is a very small one. This is one that I throw for largemouth bass most of the time, and it's a 4-wire rig. I tend to go with the bigger rigs for stripers. If you're going to get one A-rig, I would say go with a 5-wire or a 7-wire. They just seem to produce more fish, but this is a nice size that I could throw with a smaller rod. But you can't beat these. They're a little bit expensive. You're going to probably have $20 to $30 wrapped up in an A-rig by the time you get a nice one and rig it up with your baits and heads and everything. But these are just, they'll kill both largemouth bass and stripers. If you get a chance to throw these things, you should be throwing them. And you could throw these in any body of water. You go up to Clear Lake, these are killers. So that's our 5 or 6 best.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. If you have those 5 or 6 baits, you probably don't, unless you're gonna, unless you want to throw in a few plastics for largemouth bass. Those will cover, geez, about 90% of everything you need to do out here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Nate, should we get out and try to catch a few bass?
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the river.